It would be better if I was an actress depicting someone else's life. I could hide behind the scenes and resurrect myself 100 times. I could keep everything under wraps and behind a black veil. I could be beautiful and nasty at the same time, and I would not feel sorry for myself.
Olga is not an actress. She is a volunteer. She took part in Ukraine's Maidan protests and stayed on as an activist at Kyiv's Ukraine House. She helps to prepare soldiers heading for the front lines and greets them upon their return.
The shadow left by Maidan, that's our barricade. The guys who leave say at the last moment, "I'll be back. Please wait for me. I'll definitely be back." So I tell them, yes, I'll be waiting. Every day this could happen with several guys. I look forward to seeing them. I would love to see this end soon, but I understand that it will last for a long time.
Olga's 21-year-old son, Vlad, is one of the many to go missing during the undeclared war in East Ukraine. He has been missing for 8 months.
He's left. It was at the end of May, the beginning of July. For 3 weeks, I did not know where he was. For 3 weeks.
Since 2010, Vlad had run a group in the East Ukrainian town of Horlivka, battling against AIDS and drug addiction. He also loved to take part in regional kayaking competitions.
Every year he goes kayaking. "Mom, I'm kayaking," he'd say. "Kayaking is good, but it's difficult to stay in touch." This time I started to worry. "At least could you tell me where you're going?" "In the Volnovakha region."
Later, Olga learned that her son had volunteered to go to war.
I received a final text message. He told me, "Mom, it's okay. If something happens to me, you'll be the first to know." But on July 21st, at around 11 p.m., I received a new message from Vladik, which read, "Pray for us. There are just a few hours left." That was all.
Olga learned that her son, who had volunteered to defend his country, was lost.
This terrible understanding that you may never learn the truth. Nobody would tell me the truth. Some said our forces were in the area. Others that they had withdrawn. Then it turned out that they were never there at all. They were volunteers, and so no formal records were kept. I was left with silence. Some guys went to the front directly from Maidan. They went without their passports or anything else. They simply disappeared. Maidan continued. The Kyiv barricades have moved to the east. It was horrible when I received such calls. I would pick up the phone and there would be silence, or they would hang up. I would immediately call back and receive the message, "The number you have dialed is not in service." Calls would often come at 5 a.m. And it always gave me hope that my son had simply been unable to reach me, but I did not know.
For weeks, Olga could not eat or drink. She was consumed with uncertainty.
At first, I would draw horrible pictures, especially after watching the news on TV and seeing how the Donbass was being taken over. So much torture and pain, cellars and basements. People being cut up because they have patriotic Ukrainian tattoos. And everything builds up inside. You hide yourself and cut yourself off from the world.
Ukrainian military officials cannot help Olga. On the contrary, their requests and questions frequently brought her more heartache.
Hello, we're from the Security Service of Ukraine. Please confirm if your son is in captivity. I replied in disbelief at the question. They promised to call back in 15 minutes. During those 15 minutes, you can go crazy wondering what they will tell you. Then they called back and simply said, "We are updating the lists of prisoners." 3 or 4 months passed. From day to day, the same things, the same questions. One fine day, they called me and asked, "Do you agree to officially declare your son as a missing person?" I'm sorry, but this time I cursed. I do not need anything from you, nothing. Just leave me alone and stop calling. All through this time, I would remember the little things from our life that I might normally have forgotten about. I came to know him as a man and as a human being, rather than a son. All his habits, everything. I think I learned more about my child during this time than when we were together.
But one conversation with a Maidan friend who had returned from the conflict zone gave her the strength to continue waiting for as long as it takes, maybe even to the end of her life.
One good man, a military man, said, "Until you see for yourself that your son is dead, don't believe anybody or any documents you may be shown. Don't believe it." If you do not have a sense that he's gone, it means that he's still alive. He will return. It helps me so much, and it gives me the strength to continue to volunteer as an activist in Kiev and help people here. I want to have a granddaughter. I have wanted a granddaughter. I even bought expensive earrings for her. There is nothing left in Horlivka, no home and no earrings for my granddaughter. But I think I'll buy some more. Because I'm convinced I will have a granddaughter. That is what I want.